cannot achieve success without failure.
If you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, then you will not regret it.
I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to be the best.
To succeed, you must fail.
Thank you so much. Welcome. I believe that this one will help you. I want us to look at how failures are part of our success, because you cannot succeed without failure. But in this, I want us to look at how to overcome fear of failure, because that is very, very important. This is what makes people not to move on, fearing the failures. Now, to start with, my name is Sam Mogo, and I am so glad that you are listening to me. I know that this one will help someone, and we will be able to pick from maybe where we stopped in this life and pursue our goals, and also grab the opportunities that come our way. I'll start by maybe trying to think together with you how in many occasions we have been afraid of failing at something that maybe you decided not to do, or you decided not to try, or maybe failure which subconsciously maybe caused you to undermine your own efforts to avoid the possibilities of a larger failure. Now, many of us have probably experienced this at one time or another, fearing that they will fail again. And fear of failure is so immobilizing. It can cause you to do nothing at all, and therefore resist moving forward. But when we allow fear to stop our forward progress in life, we are likely to miss some great opportunities along the way. Now, I really feel that we should share together, and maybe it should be a discussion about what causes fear of failure. What are the causes of fear of failure? And to find the causes of fear of failure, of course, we first need to understand what failure actually means, because we all have different definitions of failure. Maybe simply because we all have different benchmarks, we have different values, and we also have different belief systems. But a failure to one person might simply be a great learning experience for someone else. Many of us are afraid of failing, at least some of the time, but fear of failure is when we allow that fear to stop us doing the things that can move us forward to achieve our goals. Fear of failure can be linked to many causes. For instance, maybe having critical and unsupportive parent is a cause of fear for some of us, because maybe they were routinely humiliated and undermined, the things that sometimes parents say about us, or used to say about us. Sometimes they even say, you will never help yourself. Some others will say, you are a failure. They will say all sorts of things, and some of these things affect us, and some of us maybe carry these negative feelings into their adulthood, and therefore this becomes a problem. Now, experiencing a traumatic event at some point in your life can also be a cause. For example, you got an opportunity to maybe present a speech, or to do a presentation of whatever kind in front of a large group, and you did it poorly. You got an opportunity to give a sermon to a large group or a large congregation, but the feedback was not so nice. Maybe they said that you have not done it well, or you also feel like you did not do it properly. This thing haunts you. These things, this experience, it might have been so terrible that you became afraid of failing into other things. And you carry that fear even now. Years later, you are still dwelling on that. You cannot try it again. You cannot do something new because you failed in that one. Now, you might experience some of these things, but the symptoms of fear of failure are, for example, being reluctant to try new things. There are those of us, yes, yeah, you are there, you don't want to do something new, you are just reluctant. Even if an opportunity comes and you are asked maybe to do this or that, you don't want to do it. You don't want to get involved in that challenging project. You don't want to get involved into doing that thing or the other. That is how we experience fear of failure. Self-sabotage is something else. Sometimes we procrastinate things, we keep postponing things. You have a plan to do something today. When today comes, you don't want to do it today, you push it to next week, and so on and so forth. Excessive anxiety, you are anxious when you have a plan, or when there is something that is coming, you are always anxious, you have that anxiety, it is excess in you. And also maybe being unable to follow through with your goals. Each one of us has goals. You want to do this, you want to become this, you want to achieve this. We have so many goals, but we are not able to follow through our goals. Low self-esteem is also another way in which we experience fear of failure. Low self-confidence. You are not confident with yourself. This is commonly using negative statements. Sometimes you will say, I will never be good enough to get there. I will never be good enough to, achieve this or that. I will never be like so and so. Those, we compare ourselves with those successful people, and we say, no, we cannot get there. Those negative statements that we use sometimes. Others will say, I am not smart enough to be in that team. And you start living alone. You isolate yourself from those people you believe are smarter than you. That is low self-esteem. That is low self-confidence. Another things maybe is being perfectionists. We are doing things that we know that we will do them perfectly, and leave completely those others that we don't know how to go about them. That is being perfectionists. Perfectionism, the willingness to try only those things that we will finish perfectly and successfully. These are the ways in which we experience the fear of failure. Now, simply, I want to explain to you something here. And this is how we can, do away with this fear, how we can go above this fear. The wonderful thing here about failure is that it is entirely up to us to decide how to look at it. If you fear that you failed, or if you fear you fear that you will fail, it's all about how you look at it. We can choose to see failure as the end of the world, or as proof of just how inadequate we are, or we can look at failure as the incredible learning experience that it often is. Every time we fall, or every time we fail at something, we can choose to look for the lessons where, the things that we learn from our failure. It is an incredible learning experience. In fact, there is nowhere else you can learn the lessons that we learn after failing. That is the only class that we can ever be, to learn new, to know how to go about things. You cannot succeed if you have not failed. When you fail and look at it as a lesson, then you will be able to find better tactics, better ways of doing it, or avoiding the mistakes maybe that which you have done from the first trial. So it depends with how we see it. And it is easy to find successful people who have experienced such failures, but how they looked at it did not stop them from achieving and becoming who they are. Just in a nutshell, look at Michael Jordan. This guy is widely considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But you can imagine he was cut from his high school basketball team because his coach did not think he has enough skills to do basketball. That one did not stop him. Go to Warren Buffett. This is a guy who is very rich, a very successful businessman. But you can imagine that this guy, Warren, was rejected by Harvard University. That's something that should tell you a lot of things. We can also look at someone like Branson, Richard. Richard Branson is today the owner of the Virgin Empire. But it is funny, I can say it is funny, to realize that he is a high school dropout. But he is the owner of a very great empire. We celebrate these guys today. They are celebrities. But they failed in one way or the other. They encountered challenging moments in their lives, but this did not overcome them. So we need to overcome fear of failure. We should not feel like we have lost everything. We should not see like the world has come to an end just because we failed on something, but we should take a lot of lessons from that failure. Most of us will stumble and fall in life. Always. We will stumble, we will fall, but we should always wake up and move on. Doors will get slammed in our faces. Imagine going, for example, into an interview thinking that you will be, part of the team that is being interviewed, but even before you get into the panel, you are told that you are not invited. Things like that will happen, and we might make some bad decisions out of them. But remember, these guys, Michael Jordan, think of Richard Branson, think of Warren Buffett, how they found themselves into such situations, but they did not give up. They did not make any bad decision. Jordan pursued his dream of becoming a basketball player, even when he was kicked out of the team. Therefore, even us, think of the opportunities which you can miss if you give it up. If you let failure to stop you, think of those opportunities that you will have, dropped. Think of those opportunities that you will have missed or you will miss just because you gave up on trying, just because you gave up because you failed. I want to encourage someone today that failure should teach you things about yourself which can never be taught in any other class. Failure will only help you to discover how strong you are. Failure should help you to discover your truest friends. Failure should help you to find unexpected motivation to succeed. It should arouse the intrinsic motivation to move on pursuing your goals. And it will also help you to be able to see any opportunity that comes your way. And when you see it, you grab it. You don't need to wait. You grab it. Just try. Do it. If you fail, it's okay. You will try again. Valuable insights will only come after failure. Accepting and learning from those insights is the key to successful life. If you take serious notice of the insights that come with failure, I want to tell you today that success will be near. Success will be a few minutes away. So we need to know that we must, by all means, overcome the fear that comes with failures. We need to know that we cannot give up. We cannot give up because we failed. We cannot give up because of what was mentioned about us. We cannot fail because of the challenges that we face. if I can mention something, is like, for example, those who want to become popular in social media, but because of how the friends or the people that are in social media with you start saying about you, they start criticizing you, and then you stop there. How? Why? Let them say. They should even motivate you to do something better. Huh? If you are in TikTok today and you maybe post a video, and then people start mentioning, oh, you are a failure, oh, you can't, oh, look at you, and so on and so forth. These are things that you must encounter, but they should not stop you from moving on. Continue creating better clips and send them. Let them say. In fact, they will help you to become popular. Let me tell you for free. Those things will help you become more popular. Now, to finish, I want to mention some very important things here. The ways to reduce the fear of failure, so that you do not keep on fearing starting new projects and new things. You need to do 2 or 3 things. One of them is analyzing all potential outcomes in anything that you want to do. Look at the positive and the negative. Learn to think more positively. When you are doing something, don't just look at those things that may negative outcomes that may come with whatever you are doing. Also try to look at the positive things. Then also look at the worst case scenario. See how bad it is when you fail, and then analyze that worst case scenario. It may not be as bad as you think. It is something that probably you can be able to manage. Then also have a backup plan in anything. Have a contingency plan. Have a plan B, so that in the place where you feel that you have failed, you have another way to do it, or you have another way to handle the failure, and that will help you to feel more confident about moving forward. So please, my people, I just want you to try as much as you can, by all means, to overcome that fear, so that you can move on to your success. The way and the path to success is very, very rough, with a lot of stumbling blocks, but you must be able to jump the handles by all means. So thank you so much for listening, and I believe someone is blessed, someone is now good to go for it as much as you can.